legal action after marriage is actually just a harassment, nothing much. It's a
I agree. I agree.
harassment,
Yeah.
and it's more expensive than getting married. Yeah. So the thing is
Yes,
that
but I mean, yeah, they have an issue with the person, they have an issue with themselves. So I believe it's more about that they're struggling about how it makes them look. So believe people always necessarily do it because they. I mean, I in my case, I actually feel a little bit sad for my ex. That she's driven to behave the way she is, and I that's how I perceive. And I think a lot of the time people try to frame, and she does in our legal cases. My ex tries to say that I'm just bitter against her, and that she tries to say I do all these things, which something I don't do, and in order to get back at her because of what happened. But it's not true, and I'm not. And actually, I am. I just want. I'm happy she's more out of my life after seeing how she can behave. That's a good thing, and I would prefer to have more freedom from her, as much freedom from her as I can get, but it's actually that's not possible. And it's I don't necessarily think it's so simple as that.
Yeah, I'd like to add a bit to that. And well, I'm in contact with about 100 fathers, and majority, over 95% of them face one very simple thing. That is allegations against the fathers who are usually in the visitor mode, who have only visitation rights, and they're accused of harming their own children, molesting their own daughters who are little child, abusing their older children, abusing the children. All these allegations come out at $1 from applying for a personal protection order. But the burden remains on the father to spend $10,000 to clear his name, or else it will be put on him. So he has no choice. This is where it's seriously skewed and biased. And no punishment will go on to be taken for somebody who is abusing the law. This is a very sad thing. This is where the huge problem is. The control mechanisms are really not there. The judiciary courage is not there. There is no, how do you get justice? It's impossible to believe 95% of fathers would harm their own children, abuse by beatings or sexually. It's impossible.
I
That
believe
would claim
that
all
we can
fathers
always,
are really
yeah, sorry, Mr.
monsters.
I believe we can always sign up the petition and pass it, for the law if we have 100 father or 95% of them who are facing similar issue. So the petition can be signed up and include more parents on this.
We have, Aarti. To answer your question, we have.
Okay.
And this thing has been going on. They've been talking about reformation since 2014, 2019 again. And they have put up article
on. I would love to share the link also on our line for our audiences. Many of them might need it as well, who may not be in the contact with you.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Right. You see, Aarti, I just want to add on this. Abuse, when it is first reported in the court, they take it as a benefit of doubt, even if there is no medical report, regardless of whoever abused. So then they will ask the person, okay, come for a hearing. And then they'll get them to do the hearing process. If they agree, they disagree, with evidence, without evidence. I don't know why it is that every time, without evidence, also people sometimes go into court with these allegations. But I think that those who drag on these cases for a certain number of years, because my case was dragging for quite a while until my lawyer had to put a foot down and tell the judge, Your Honor, he has not let it go. He is still going on with this case. We must put a stop to it. Can you please ask the defendant to, close up the case soon? So a lawyer has should tell the judge to stop these people from going on and on and on. And it is true. It's not as if they have moved on. Those who are having an affair, not as if they have moved on. Because in their mind, they're like, okay, what can I do next? How can I make that person miserable? They're not moving on. They're making life
No, they're
continuously
passing
miserable
up
for the
their
other person.
hatred basically. And they're forgetting there's a child in it. The more they push, the more they're hurting
Because
their
they're
child.
selfish. They are selfish. Why did they have the affair in the first place? It is their selfish needs. If they had seen their child and said, okay, now my husband and I are not, or wife and I are not in good terms,
Yeah.
let's try to mend it. If they had thought it that way, okay. But what they're thinking, oh, my needs are more important. Did they think that one day if their child discovers that they're having an affair, it will affect the relationship? No. Did they think that the family will be in shambles? No. It is selfish needs. So it is actually, if you look at it, no matter how many excuses they can say, the person who is having an affair and who walked out of the marriage without thinking about sitting down and talking it out, or let's say other reasons they had, they said, oh, I cannot get along with my husband. Why cannot get along? Just cannot get along. I don't want this marriage.
That
When
doesn't
they
need a
say that,
reason.
they
Okay.
are the ones who are selfish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to share with you.
Perhaps at the cost of repeating myself, there is no one reason or one solution that applies to every situation. I hear the stories from my friends on board, which evidently within just four of us is very contradicting or very different experiences that we've all had. So there is no generalization that can ever be done. So each one to their own situation, just do what is prudent and what is right for your own situation, right? The people who are like taking a very short relationship and trying to walk out of it, who knows, they will really face difficult situations in a short time. Or they could be people who don't have the real commitment within themselves. It's really depending on the situation. So I would refrain myself from commenting uh, generalized statements. It again boils down to the value system, to the upbringing. We were just addressing few of the concepts, like, how honest do we need to be about children about the situation. Perhaps it's a different point of view that I have, is that I am completely honest with my son. He knows everything about me. I know everything about him. So because the situation was really adverse at home, where you had police coming in regularly to protect the safety of the mother. So he used to see police coming into the house regularly, and he was like paranoid, saying, "What is happening?" There was no. I could not hang him in a dark limbo, trying to hide what is happening. And he was, when all this was happening, he was around 10 years old. But fortunately for me and my son, is that we've been on yoga right from the age he's been 5 or 6. So his perception, his clarity of thinking is something has is way advanced than people of that age, perhaps. So we would not discuss things with him to say that, your father did this, I didn't do this. There was absolutely no such defense or offense in the communication. It was just facts. See, this was a situation. I used to openly tell him about what things I did which may have offended the father, or what the father did which may have offended me. So it's just about fact.
True. Okay, let's move to Mr. Janak. Mr. Janak, what do you think that, when they are dating, they go for a longer relationship, but once they get married, why does it get shortened? What's wrong? What can you be done or advised by you?
That's the most hardest question to answer, Aarti. That's the $1 million question. That's a $1 billion question.
But that's very important, because
Yeah,
I've seen
I
many
agree.
witness a lot of things. These kind of things are happening between couple.
Yeah, I've got friends who, classmates who dated for 17 years. And once they got married, things just fall apart in 2 years, and they're not having kids. They are on the rock still. And anytime it can break, but God forbid should anything happen, because they're lucky they don't have kids involved. They can still go their separate ways. And also, we've heard guy who's been with his spouse before they got married for a long time, and still it happens. I got married pretty late age. I was in my mid-30s when I got married, and still it happens. So I think you can't eliminate divorce, but I think you can reduce it. One, you need to really know yourself. You need to stop lying to yourself and understand what you want and what you're looking for. You come to reality and what you think you can get. That is a reality. It's not about a pretty face, a handsome guy or whatsoever. It's about reality.
I also believe,
what do you see yourself in future?
I also believe one thing that's really will sound funny. When you're dating, you look good. When you're not dating, you're married, you see real.
Of course, you have to look good. Sure, you look good, but you have to see the inner self.
Yeah, exactly.
The
So they
inner
fail
self
to
of
see inner
yourself.
self. When they're dating, they fail to see inner self when they're dating. So they need to be sincere to each other.